Yeah, welcome back. Am I right to say that it looks like you're not meant to become an employee?
Yeah, I think it was an error that I was an employee.
So you just have it in you to be an entrepreneur. So without going to a school called entrepreneurship school, can we define entrepreneurship using your own self? You know? Something that you have, what you have in you as an example of how the entrepreneur should look like. I'm not saying you are perfect, but I think you have it inside you that confirms to you that you are made to be an entrepreneur. What is it about you that makes you that entrepreneur and that assures you that, yeah, you will have knocks and failures here and there, but you will stay within the entrepreneurship journey?
I think it's a hunger that I always want more. Even as a kid, you know, I'll get a 5 rand spending, but I would find a way to make that 5 rand more. Even if it's for short-term sacrifice.
Yeah.
And then later on, I have more.
Yeah.
You know, and I've literally always told myself, I want more, I want more.
So an entrepreneur must want more of whatever they have. It is not suggesting that you should be greedy, but you should you should maximize yourself, right?
Correct. You should maximize yourself, your spirit, your finances, your emotional capability, your level of change of others, your leadership capability, your growth as an individual, your respect for yourself, your love for yourself. There's just so much more that I've always wanted for myself.
Wow. Wonderful. So you must want more. What else?
I think that just confidence.
Yeah.
Belief in higher powers. You know, like I really always tell myself everything happens for a reason, but more than telling myself, I believe it.
Yeah.
And I live it. Like when I can see the bank account is going very low, I always say something's gonna come. Something's gonna come. I just need to be ready. I must play my role.
Yeah.
You know, I can't sit back. I must keep chasing. I must keep looking for more opportunities. I must keep reaching out to individuals I know, etc.
How do you go about looking for more opportunities or more business? Let's put it that way.
I read a lot, so I'm always like on LinkedIn and on Facebook to see what's going on in other people's lives. You know, to understand what skills I have that would be useful to others. So I also I do my business, but I do it on a one-to-one basis. So I speak to people who I know. I don't do this thing, you know, like where you randomly see people's messages, sending you messages if they're your friend.
Yeah.
I don't like that, so I don't do that to people. I only communicate with individuals whom I've met and whom I've spoken to. And I say, this is what I'm up to. I see this is where you're working.
Yes.
Are there any opportunities for a young black woman, you know, who does the following?
Wow. So that's relationships, I guess. You know, you create relationships, and relationships come in handy when you need it. What about the technical knowledge of whatever it is that you are offering?
It's very, very important. You need to walk the walk, man. Like, don't waste people's time.
Yeah.
Don't claim that you know things that you actually don't know.
Yeah.
You know, take the time and teach yourself. Go on programs, go on courses, always add value to yourself. You must be technically sound, you know, and it's the same back to an earlier conversation where there's no point in being academically strong if you don't have the other stuff, right? So they work in tandem. You must have the relationships, the charisma, the trust that people have in you. And at the same time, you should be so technically astute that you should sometimes surprise yourself. Like, how did I pull that out?
Yeah. Yeah. Is it always easy to decide on the type of business that one should go into? Or is it's I've had people saying that I want to be in business, but I don't know what type of business. Then I said, then I think you're not yet ready.
I think that becomes a difficult question when you're not doing it from your heart.
Yes.
Business is not about, hey, I see that people who are working in IT make money, so let me go and do that.
Yeah.
Or, I see that people working in finance, they make money, so let me go do that.
Yeah.
That's not what business is about. It should be things that's so part of you that your business is just an extension of who you are with a name and its own legal entity.
So we should look at the things we like, we should look at our passion, our interest, and try to make business around that.
Exactly that. And that's really what has worked for me. So, like, I can't find any reason why not to care about the quality of education in this country. I can't find any reason not to care about the capability of our sporting teams, sports individuals, and the role that sports has to play in society in this country. Like, I can love that all day, every day.
Yes.
I would not mind. It is, for me, it would be a luxury to do that. If I were a sports analyst on TV, I would love my job every day. And I will not do it for free, but I won't do it for a huge amount of money, right? Because people often say, I love my job so much, I'll even do it for free. No, I've come from that.
Yeah. It's not practical, eh?
Yeah, it's very impractical. But there are things that I would do with a smile every day and enjoy waking up to go and do it. Never ever be late for it. Never ever miss a beat. Always add texture to whatever it is that I'm doing in the world of sports, in the world of education, because that's where my heart is, man. And fortunately, I'm good at it.
Yeah.
And is the extra, it's the bonus.
Wonderful. Let's talk about your business. Take us through the type of business that you do and the value proposition that you offer. And what are the challenges and the product and the challenges that those products are addressing?
Yes. So I have 3 different sections in my business, and it's really over the 10-year journey that I've added various needs as I've gone along.
Yeah.
Starting with the training aspect. And the training aspect is really about learning and how I enable learning with individuals. And as part of the training side of the business, I also do executive coaching. And I'm fortunate to have clients around the world who I do executive coaching for at various levels, senior executives, even middle managers. And I'm really blessed to be able to do that work.
Yeah.
Now, in my training portfolio, we do various learning programs, and the learning programs themselves could be 1 year long, it could be 6 months long. We tailor-make programs as well so that a client is able to address specific needs, and that is really my favorite form of teaching, of developing learning programs, because then you are able to deal with direct difficulties that individuals might have or that the organization needs to address, and enable their employees in a different way. In my business, there's 4 big programs that we run, and it is generic management. We teach new venture creation. And then there's also a program called New Venture Creation, specifically for SMMEs. And also business practice, right? So those are the 4 main programs that I push because it's really the kind of stuff I do anyway. And it gives me the opportunity to give individuals a learning experience that is also practical and not only based on content. So I really appreciate that opportunity to be able to share those insights with learners on various programs that I have to offer.
Yeah, and so you have facilitators that work with. You said you only work with contractors, so I guess that's associates of yours.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
And how do you deploy them?
It's very much about their own capabilities and what they are expertise at. I'm also quite particular about ensuring that I give Black people a voice.
Yeah.
So in the training space, majority of the companies are white businesses.
Yes.
Because they come from historic times.
Yes.
And we have to be very particular about how we're going to take this country forward. We cannot assume that people of a different hue understand the dynamics of how it is that we end up in a classroom, for example.
Yeah.
And those dynamics are the things that's going to help learners to not only finish a learning program, but also start the next one and the next one. And appreciate that education never stops. Knowledge is power.
Yeah.
Because it must be so relatable that you're like, that makes sense, You must make examples of a spaza shop. Speak about the taxi.
Yeah.
Speak about the environment that our learners grow up in, around, Even if it means you're going to take them to a shabin so that they can see how finances work, what you get in, what stock comes out, how much money you make. All of those things are important because it's going to give them a better understanding of their world, but more importantly, this education that we're trying to teach them, right? And being a majority Black country, it's important that our examples relate to our people.
Yeah.
And over the years, because of my learning exposure and also only ever having been attending private schools, etc., it's very clear how education is, as we would say, colonialized.
Yeah.
And for young Black people like me, it's important that we deconstruct that colonialism because it's not going to add value to the greater good of the learning of individuals.
Yeah.
They're not going to understand because actually they're not supposed to understand. Remember, that's a parallel world to the one that we have been growing up in and the one that was set up for us. The fact that we are even free in words in 2010 is in itself still a miracle that we need to acknowledge and that youngsters need to learn to better understand. And in those programs, it gives me the time to have conversations like this, to also contextualize for them. And, because what people don't realize that in townships and rural areas, many people are still so hurt that they cannot even articulate the pain that they had gone through. Therefore, youth members today won't understand and can't understand because there's nobody to help them to understand what it means to be free in inverted commas. Because we're really just on step one.
Have you clearly articulated this on your website? And what was your website address? So
my website address is ssbconsult.co.za.
Yes.
It's not very clearly articulated yet. I'm actually in the process of changing the website because I've had to add an LMS system, so an online learning system. Therefore, the website now has to carry a lot more information, but in a different fashion. So, but those are the things, those are the philosophies behind the work I do.
Yes.
And that is what also makes people uncomfortable. That's the other thing.
Yeah.
So I know that this conversation makes many of my clients uncomfortable. Very, very uncomfortable. Because we don't speak about race relations directly as if they don't exist.
Yeah.
But we need to. For the sake of longevity, for the sake of helping people to start healing. because we haven't started healing. You know, and diplomacy can only take you so far.
Yeah. Wow.
So those are the conversations that need to start driving.
It sounds like a change management and transformation is also some of your interventions that you deliver. That sounds like a change agent talking here.
Yes, it is. It's actually one of those very successful programs that I actually deliver at a couple of business schools as well. And I think it's because it's candid, it's very real, you know, and people get to speak what they really feel in a safe space. And that really adds great value to also the quality of the relationships amongst the individuals in the room. And it gives them the opportunity for courageous conversations in other spaces.
Beautiful. So where do you see this business in the next 5, 10, 15 years?
I see this business changing lives, being very much bigger. And, you know, I think at that point, in the next 5 years, I'll definitely have more than 3 branches. And it's not going to, so it will probably be something like one in South Africa, one in Kenya, one in Nigeria. Because I feel that as Africans, we also have a lot to learn from one another. However, it has not been groomed in us to learn from each other. Instead, we want to call America and Europe to come and teach us.
Yeah.
But actually, they don't even.
So you see yourself as a continental African organization?
Indeed.
Yeah.
Indeed.
Yeah. And what is so special for you that Africa can teach the world that makes you to have this approach that you are?
Africa leads from the heart, right? And I think that is what we need to teach the world.
Yeah.
Lead from the heart and then allow your head to make things a little bit right. Versus how we see that the world is led by the head and then the heart is secondary, right? Hence, we have global decisions that are made that don't think about how many people are dying in Syria, but instead, what is our relationship with those in the necessary Middle Eastern areas, right?
Yeah.
And in the same way, those are the things that impact Africa, where our raw material is taken because the head tells you it's the right thing to do, it's going to give you riches. But the expense at which countries are falling apart is not considered.
Yeah.
You know, people are killing each other in African countries all over, where they are just trying to scrape for a little bit of something. You know, a little bit of gold. Let me just get a little bit of gold. Let me get a little bit of uranium, and then I'll be happy. But we don't realize that America is sitting on all the uranium. They're taking our uranium for themselves. You know, so those are examples of where we're getting it wrong on a global scale. But which is why I think that the African way of leading from the heart and then with a head later is great, right?
Yeah.
But that too is its downfall.
Yeah? Telling me?
That too is its downfall, and it's the biggest reason why African nations don't stand up against each other for when they do wrong.
I see.
Because they trust that, they're doing this for a reason, for a good reason, or we will blindly trust that what you say is the truth. You know, we've got a crisis in Zimbabwe, and South Africa is silent. They think that sending one convoy is enough. And how do you do that of 2 individuals who are friends to the primary perpetrator? Like, that's basic things that we can all see is wrong. It's never going to yield results. And, you know, tough decisions need to be made. And we need strong leaders to do that.
Yes. And where is the role of the youth in this, as entrepreneurs in this situation that you are painting?
Yes.
Across countries?
Well, yeah. I think that we are the ones who need to make the change. It's not going to happen from us. Who else is going to do it, you know? We have the stamina. We have the years. We have the years ahead of us. The only problem, we don't have accessibility. And that's what I struggle with big time. Like, that's what my business struggles with, where we can say all the right things, do all the right things. We've gone to the right schools. We have, you know, been professional in all our operation, but we don't have the right friends who are going to give us the opportunity to make change.
So how do we sort of like align the thinking of the continental entrepreneurs? Because I hear what you're saying, that actually entrepreneurship cannot just be about selling products and services to clients. It is also responsible for transformation. It is also responsible for changing the way we do things, which is obviously fundamental in your talk. But I'm sure if we are to change the continent, all the 4 regions, 5 regions, or 55, how many countries do we have? 50
countries, 55,
yeah. All the countries of Africa needs to sort of like be aligned. And it can't happen on its own. It can't be done by only political leadership. All the civil society members have to play their role. But here specifically I'm talking about the business community and more entrepreneurs like yourself. How do you see that being addressed?
Well, it is to first start.
Is it starting with trade, us selling goods to each other, or it starts with us organizing ourselves into forums? Or how does it start?
Yeah, you know, that's what the thing is. It needs to first start. And these are those things where trial and error, we have to communicate first of all. You know, there have to be open lines of communication. You know, there should sort of be a guarantee that I will get a visa to a country if I need it, because I'm a youth member and I'm an entrepreneur.
Yes.
I should not be stopped from coming into South Africa or given lots of stress, right? So, you know, Thabo Mbeki used to speak about ensuring that our borders are going to be put down, you know, the United States of Africa. And that needs to happen. Why we make it difficult for Africans to get around Africa is bewildering. It does not make any sense. Europeans can operate here with ease, up and down, right? We are the first ones who want to complain about other Africans being in Africa. We're not looking.
So we must actually embrace the Africans from the continent, not to exclude anybody else, but to say that you need to enable exchange of ideas, exchange of products, exchange of movement, so that this inter-Africa trade we're talking about happens, exchange of ideas, and then others can then learn from us, and we can invite them to join us and to assist us in. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly.
So
exactly.
Is that the reason why you want to make it continental? That you want to have sort of like.
Exactly. That's exactly why, because there's great value in it as well. You know, we see in a lot of the programs that I teach on, you'll see that we have many individuals from other African countries coming to South Africa to study.
Yes. I see that there's more and more such at the universities actually. And
because they themselves don't have the quality of education. And yet we feel this quality of education isn't even good enough, right? Especially in your high school and primary school. Some of the universities are good enough, are very, very good, you know. Wits, for example, is the highest ranked university in Africa. So we need to value each other. Instead of looking to England and America and Asia before we can actually make a mark.
Yeah.
And we ourselves need to appreciate each other And yes, it's going to take a lot of work. It's going to take a lot of change in mindsets, because guess what? We have been taught through colonial teachings that we must not be loving each other. Black people should not be happy for one another, right? We have been indoctrined to spy on each other, to check that, oh, my neighbor is not doing the wrong thing, because if they do the wrong thing, let me call the police, for example. Whereas good things are not monitored. Instead, we have very few people who focus on black excellence, who are in black management forum. Very few business people who are as small as my company, even are members of black management forum, for example, they're not following what happens at Busa. Those are simple things. Those are small ways in which SMMEs can include themselves.
So belonging to forums and associations.
Yes.
So tell me, just to expand on that how can technology enable all these things?
It can really make a big difference, and it can add a lot of value. Now with COVID, it has also helped us to put a lot of programs online. And you can be sitting anywhere in South Africa and you have access to see global videos, global video calls, global lecturers, professors. And there's no discrimination. The only discrimination is our bandwidth and cost of data.
Yes.
But if that's really a big problem for you, go stand at the library. There's free Wi-Fi at libraries in South Africa. Go stand at the clinic. There's free Wi-Fi at the clinics in South Africa. Those are things that as individuals we should also take advantage of.
Yes.
If things are really that bad, there's that accessibility that COVID has created, and which I really, really hope continues, because it actually costs nothing for people to broadcast their live feeds. So that the world can continue to.
Yeah. So technology is the connector.
Amen to that.
Yeah, and it must just become a public good.
True.
Yeah.
It's actually a duty to ensure that there's proper bandwidth available. At good pricing as well. So that there's a lot more accessibility and also availability of information for individuals.
So if I'm somebody that is really inspired by what you are saying, and I want to follow on your footsteps, and you are executive coach, but this time I want you to wear the head of what I actually wanted you to do is if you were to give 3 top things that are critical for anybody to embark on the type of a journey you are embarked in, which is an entrepreneurship journey. What will those be? And if people are wanting to engage with you on this, I'm sure there's a lot of people that are going to be charged by the dialogue. If they want to follow up, we always encourage people that you might not be able to listen to the whole talk, but you could continue on our social media with the discussion, because the whole idea is that people must be able to access you, not just for the benefit of selling to each other, but also to exchange and learn from each other. So I want you to end up with sharing with us how did they go about? Do you prefer people post on your Facebook page or connect with you on LinkedIn? Because one of the things we're encouraging is exactly as you had started, that there must be a way of connecting and sharing the ideas if we want to change our situation. But let's start with those top 3 things that people want to follow the path we followed. That of entrepreneurship, really not being forced to go into entrepreneurship because you don't have option, but saying, I want to become an entrepreneur that is socially conscious, that is contributing to the change of the continent. What are the top 3 things that they should actually consider or should have?
I think lead with your heart first, right? And in saying such a simple sentence of lead with your heart, I mean, be authentic, be yourself. Because in being yourself, you can really only be your best being. You can really only be your best self.
Yes.
And the least you can do is do you.
Yeah.
Right? That's the first thing.
Yes.
And the second thing for me is back your passion up with paper. Study, go to school, work hard, push yourself. I'm now doing Masters of Commerce in Marketing Management, right?
Yes.
Yes, I don't even know where I'm going to get all my school fees from.
Yeah.
I'm in my second year, but that is what I'm doing. This is my second attempt at a master's, you know.
Wow.
And when you have the paper to back yourself up, it makes it so much easier, because it's not only about the paper for yourself, it's having a compliant business. If you want to play big, you must be big, look big, you know, have your compliance in order. Pay SARS, don't act as if you're paying SARS, you know, and submit 0 rand returns, all those fake stuff, and then you think that, oh, you're winning. It's not going to help you, you know. Pay all your licensing fees on time.
Yeah.
For whatever's going to keep your business up to date and up to standard, up to professional levels. Because when we're competing, you know, even if you've just started out, guess what? You're competing against me. Guess what? You're competing against Kometsa.
Yes.
Guess what? You are competing against Gibbs. You're competing against University of Pretoria. You're competing against Duke in the training world, you know? So you better get your
So
stuff.
professionalism is absolute a must.
It's definitely a must. Definitely a must. And then for me, the last thing is that you should want more in every sense. You should want more in the sense of being a better person, being a better business, being a better leader, being a better soul searcher, being spiritually improved, emotionally strong. You know, you should just always want more for yourself and never tell yourself, I've made it, I have enough. You know, because even if you do think you've got enough, then go and make more so that you can give to the next person.
Beautiful, beautiful. I feel like you have just started, Shari. This is definitely something to be continued from where I'm sitting. So you have thrown quite a lot of challenges in terms of you ignite thinking in the people, how people should think about these things, and then you touch the organizing side, and you touch on the knowledge side, you touched on the networking side. You in many ways you have talked around being socially conscious of who we are, where we come from, and why we are where we are today. I'm just paraphrasing, and I also feel that you have you feel this needs to be continental. It's not about just one country in the continent. Hence, you identified already the countries where you will want to find your business located. These are big ideas. I hope you have them documented somewhere, and you always revisiting them, because you might not be the one that fulfilled them, but somebody may take them and fulfill them. And that is the beauty of the dialogue, the conversation.
Yes.
Yeah. It sounds like you've just started.
Yes. I also feel like I've just started.
Yeah. You know, we build it up by just getting to know where you come from, what education you got, what your parent prepared you for, and you are accepting indirectly that you made your own wrong choices, even though you loved that first degree. But then you realize that I needed to do something quickly before I'm going to be hating my education. You got it very right, and then you are in the education space. And the last contribution from my side is, it does look like you don't have to wait before you start reaching out to those countries you have just mentioned to say, can we just talk? I don't think it's about you starting something physical. I think from what I heard from you is we just must start thinking big. That will be for me the last challenge I'll leave for you to say. I don't think you have to wait for anything. You should be communicating with Nigeria almost every day, with Kenya almost every day, sharing ideas and say, if I was to be in Nigeria tomorrow, who will be the people that you will connect me with?
Yes, actually.
Yeah. Because the whole idea by having you telling the story is to ignite more in you so that you magnify the ideas you have and then you see them even much bigger. And in doing so, you are also growing and challenging others. I'm challenged myself by your thinking. I didn't really think this is the angle you were going to take. I thought you would just sit with the enterprise. But you are saying that, come on, belong to forums, be involved, get educated, right?
Yes.
So how maybe before we ask you to share your contact details with people, because I really would love you to have people coming to talk further with you, because I can see you can benefit so many people. But before we do that, any closing remarks, any reflections, and what do you think this conversations has brought to fore for you?
I just think that it's true that knowledge is power. But knowledge is nothing without character. And we as Africans need to work towards rebuilding character for so many of our citizens of all ages, especially in a country like South Africa where people were stripped of their dignity and they have never been given that dignity back. And as a result, they would raise children who too do not know what it is to be your best self and how to become a better self, nor understand the value of trying new things and growing yourself and pushing yourself into uncharted territories.
Yes.
So for me, I really want and wish for more for South Africa and Africa as a whole.
We're the next frontier, man. It has to happen here. And how do people get a hold of you?
Cool. My email address is Shari,
yes.
S for sugar, HARI, at ssbconsult.co.za. SSB stands for Strategic Sports Business Consulting.
I see.
So that's the name of my business. And to abbreviate it, it's SSB Consulting Services, because the actual words could at times confuse people into thinking we purely in sports. But it is really about soul searching and how do we strategically do that. Because ultimately the final showdown will be inclusive of sport, which is not currently taking place. Then I'm reachable on LinkedIn, fully active all day, every day.
Yes.
My name is Shari Mattera on LinkedIn. And that's where you can get a hold of me. And I can consciously be able to respond. I'm not so great on Facebook. But I look at it often.
Yes.
But yeah, you most likely won't be able to communicate with me via Facebook. But I'm very good on LinkedIn and email.
Beautiful.
24/7.
Lovely. Thank you.
Can I share my cell phone number as well?
If you are free about that, you can do so.
Yeah, my cell phone number is 084-035-8472, and I'm available on WhatsApp.
Beautiful. Lovely. Thank you so much for such an inspirational story. And I just love the passion with which you tell it, and the commitment and the love for South Africa and Africa that just, it is unmistakable. It comes loud and clear, and I'm sure people will be even more inspired, irrespective of how uncomfortable the views you share. The passion and the love is coming out very loud and clear, which is really great, and we are very thankful that you came to join us here at Comeza Radio Africa. And I look
Thank you
forward
very
to
much for
more
the
discussions. Yeah? Beautiful. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen, for tuning in. That was Shari Mattera. She shared her contact with you. I look forward to hear more such continued discussions. I'm sure, as I said, we have just started. More is to come, and we're inviting more people to continue the dialogue with us and sharing the insights and the passion that we have for our continent and the world. Once again, my name is Sam Zimmer. I am the CEO and Executive Business Coach at Comeza GOC International. Check our website, www.comeza-goc.com. You could also become a member of Comeza Friends and Supporters Club, NPO. The application can be done online at www.comezaclub.africa. You're welcome to drop us email at callcenter@comeza-goc.com. Thank you very much, and for now we're saying goodbye. Take care and be safe.